something called think, pair, share. Now, it sounds simple, but trust me, this is a teaching strategy that's, well, it's a total game changer for the classroom. So let's start with a question for you. Think back to a classroom, any classroom. The teacher is up at the front lecturing, but are the students really learning, or are they just listening? You know, it's a huge question that educators have been wrestling with forever. Yeah, for ages, the model was what you'd call teacher-centered. Pretty straightforward, right? The teacher talks, the students listen. But, and this is a big but, that old school way has some serious limits. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. The teacher becomes this dispenser of knowledge. And what does that do? It puts students in a totally passive role. They're just sitting there, receiving information, and that doesn't just hurt engagement, it seriously stunts the growth of real critical thinking. So, to keep up with, the modern world, education has had to evolve. There's this massive shift happening away from that old school model and towards something that's way more student-centered. The whole idea is to get students actively involved. And this is where you can really see the difference side by side. The old way? Passive learning, limited thinking. But with a student-centered approach, oh man, it's a whole different ballgame. Students actually take an active role. They're engaged, they're building problem-solving skills. They're not just sponges anymore, they're builders. And the results of this shift? They're huge. First off, engagement and motivation go way up because now students are actually part of the learning. Then you see critical thinking skills just skyrocket. And here's a big one. They actually remember stuff better because it means more to them. Oh, and they learn how to collaborate, which is, a pretty important life skill. Okay, so that all sounds great, right? Student-centered, active learning, fantastic. But how do you actually do it? How do you make it work in a real classroom? Well, that's where this incredibly practical tool comes in. Let's talk about the think, pair, share method. So this idea isn't brand new. It was developed by a guy named Professor Frank Lyman way back in the 80s. But its power is timeless. At its core, it's a cooperative learning strategy. But the real goal, it's designed to get every single student involved. And what's so beautiful about it is its simplicity. Yeah, the entire thing is built around just 3 steps. That's it. 3. But don't let the simplicity fool you. This simple process is what transforms the learning experience. So, what are they? What are these 3 simple, powerful steps? Let's break it down and see how this thing actually works. Okay, here's the process in a nutshell. Step 1. Think. The instructor throws out a big, open-ended question. And here's the key. Everybody gets quiet time, just to think. No hands shooting up. Step 2. Pair. You turn to the person next to you, your elbow partner, and you just talk. You share what you were thinking in a super low-stakes way. And finally, step 3. Share. The pairs then bring their ideas to the whole group, and suddenly, you've got this amazing exchange of all these different viewpoints. See? It's a really clear flow. But the real genius here isn't just what you do, it's why you do it. Each of these steps has a very specific, very powerful purpose. Let's look at that think phase. That's all about building confidence. It gives you a second to actually reflect without pressure. Then the pair part, that's your chance to clarify things, to kind of test drive your idea with one other person. And share? Well, that's where everything comes together. It's how the whole class gets exposed to a ton of different ideas they might not have thought of on their own. And that's really the big takeaway here. The whole focus shifts. It's no longer about the teacher being the only one with the answers. Instead, the students become active constructors of their own knowledge. It completely flips the script. So it really makes you think, doesn't it? What if the best learning doesn't happen when we're all sitting in silence just listening? What if it happens when we're talking together? This method gives us a structure for that, and it kind of proves that maybe the most powerful learning happens in that shared space between our own thoughts and the thoughts of others.